And it's getting well. That's the thing of like it feels like the level of danger and difficulty in the world is just getting steeper by the day. We're like, wait, what? And then there's always global warming. You're like, oh fuck.
Did you see the science guy Bill Nye going crazy, screaming? And
he was on Oliver or something.
Yeah, the planet's on fucking fire, and
yeah,
it's getting a little silly.
Yeah, I know.
Like, bro, we're all right. Go to Antarctica. Planet's on fire, bro.
No, I saw a thing that Antarctica was like 84 degrees.
Oh my God, it's on fire.
I mean, yeah.
Is it really? Do you really see something that said Antarctica was 84 degrees?
Yeah, something in the Arctic Circle is 84 degrees like
what
3 days ago.
Fuck is that? What?
It's gonna be. Do you ever think about like
global warming?
But really, what it will look like in 70 years, what it will do to the Earth? Like, and I'm not talking about just Miami's gone or any. That's like incredibly like crazy to think about. It's
Not
like unfathomable.
Those Miami people, they're gonna move other places and ruin them.
That's probably the biggest. That's my biggest worry.
Everywhere he goes, it's gonna be Lamborghinis, and dudes yelling at girls in Spanish,
eating outside. Everyone's fucking eating outside. But like, would you fucking get indoors, you maniac?
A party, though.
A lot of salsa.
I love going
salsa
there.
in like North Carolina. Like, get the fuck out of here. Salsa dancing. Get the fuck out of here with the fucking. That's a good bit.
They're like another country that's attached to Florida.
Yeah, it's like Europe. It's I always say it's like people. You see like Italian people like in Beverly Hills or Miami, and I always say to my friend, those are people that were too douchey for Italy. And they're like, oh, we got to take it to the next douchey level, Miami, and then they go deep. But you think about like chaos, like not like 28 days later, but like. Yeah. You know,
like
huge, like scary, fucking scary, especially because we're going to be near dead and no disrespect, you're not going to be in the same shape you're in now. And you're not, I mean, people may give you respect, but like, it's going to be fucking scary.
Ugly. We're going to have to move to the mountains. Where would you move? The shit hit the fan.
Somebody, Sam, what's Callan's friend? Sam Fighter's Mind?
Sam Cedar?
No, Sam, the Fighter's Mind he wrote.
Damn it! How can I not remember his name?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I'll tell you real quick.
This is going to be worth it, guys. Listeners, this is
Sam Sheridan.
Sam Sheridan. That's right.
Sam Sheridan. Thank you.
Told me 10 years ago and stuck with me. Go to the marina because I live in Venice. He's like, go to the marina and basically just basically you got to pay to get on a boat or just be like, I will be. The hard part is, how do I qualify to like I can help you?
Right.
Because I get seasick. Here's what I have going for me: seasick, queasy. Because you just get away. You get away from
LA.
Anyone. You get away from in LA's case, millions and millions of people, and you can. If there's a attacker, you can see them. You assume that they're not going to be like, SEAL teams coming onto your boat.
Attackers.
Well, I know, but that's what I mean. Like, how crazy
could it get?
Yeah.
You got to go to Alaska.
How do you get there?
It's a good call. How do you? Can you drive?
Airport's closed. Or like
it's connected, right? You could drive. Right?
You could technically drive, yeah.
Technically,
they cut off that road all the time in like the Napa Valley because the landslide will shut off the road. Like if that happens, good luck. Where the fuck you gonna go?
Then you're fucked.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's like. Burr's got the helicopter, but he's got to go to get it.
Yeah,
that's his escape.
He had a great bit about that. His black and white special.
Yeah,
I would move north. I'd probably move somewhere that was, if I could just go to a place. If I knew I just had to get to a place, I would go to a place that is sustainable, like whether it's Alaska or Minnesota or Michigan, somewhere where there's a lot of animals. And there's wildlife, and you have cold, you have water, you have a lot. Like cold is better than heat because cold you can make a fire. Like if you have shelter and you can make a fire in the cold, you can live.
I have a counter argument, which is the cold kills more people than heat.
Sure, it does. Hypothermia,
like every year,
it does. But that's just because people are unprepared for it. You can prepare for cold with clothing. You can't really prepare for heat with clothing. With heat, you need air conditioning and you need water. Those are two things that are critical.
Shade.
Yeah, you need something. If you live in, like, there's people that have lived in very cold climates, as long as they have a good house and they have a good supply of wood, they're fine. If you live in the desert, man, you're kind of fucked. You're kind of fucked if the power goes out. You don't really have anything to keep you cool. You have to stay in the shade and stay indoors, but it's not good enough when it's 110 degrees inside and it's 125.
If you're hydrated,
outside.
though, I don't think you will just die from heat exposure.
No, you won't, but you're not going to find a lot of water. One of the problems with global warming is going to be that things like lakes and streams there's going to be less. There's going to be less water. There's going to be less dribbling down through the creeks. Creeks are going to dry up. Streams will dry up. You're going to have a hard time getting water if you're in a desert environment.
If you have, by the same token, if you have enough water, you have as much water as you have wood. Obviously, it's not a one-to-one analogy because you can go get more wood easily.
Yeah.
But if you had a shitload of water, right?
Yeah.
If you just had I hear your thought about getting cold, but I don't know. If I had shade, I guess with cold, you don't have to have electricity.
You don't have to have electricity with cold, and also you have more of an opportunity to find animals. You'll find more animals in cold climates than you're going to find
more
in hot
delicious
climates.
animals for sure.
Yeah, more things to eat. But you could still easily starve to death. Like the idea that it's easy to go out there and shoot a bunch of animals and eat them all the time, like not most places. Most places you don't have an abundant enough supply of wildlife.
You're also a guy who does archery, so
I know how to.
You have skills for this,
and I would still be panicked. I'd be like, "Fuck, this is not good." If I had to feed my family with a bow and arrow, first of all, I'd say, "Okay, how many arrows do I have?" I would have to make sure that I have enough arrows. I mean, you have to practice too. Archery's not something like a rifle. If I have 100 rounds, I can kill 100 things. I don't really need to practice that much if my rifle's not off. I have good trigger discipline. I'll pull through the shot. I'll try not to flinch, and I'm not going to take
literally
anything
the two of those three things. I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
When you're shooting, you don't want to anticipate.
Right.
You don't want to anticipate.
I go.
You don't want to flinch when the trigger goes off. So a lot of guys like Tim Kennedy, who's a friend of mine, who's one of the baddest motherfuckers in the world, he'll practice with dummy rounds. So he has regular bullets, and then 4 bullets are just not real bullets. So it's like bang, 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 click, and then he has to get rid of that bullet. But at least he knows if he was flinching. Because if you're flinching, you'll see this movement where there's no gun goes off, the bullet doesn't go off, but you make that weird move because you're anticipating the shot.
And that's the way to train yourself out of it?
Yeah, you have to do something like that. You have to have what's called trigger discipline. Well, first of all, trigger discipline means don't put your finger on the trigger, but also the way you squeeze. You got to just squeeze, and let the shot go off by surprise and not react to it. It's the same thing with a bow and arrow. You have to have a surprise shot. You want to concentrate on the target, zone it in, and
which feels like you kind of can't even be there. Meaning, like you just have to be like, I'm doing a thing.
Yep.
Like you can't think about the release. You have to just think about the target.
That's very astute of you. There's actually courses. There's a guy named Joel Turner who has this whole course called Shot IQ. He teaches first responders like SWAT teams and shit about trigger discipline and about how to shoot properly under pressure. And he works with people with archery with the same thing because it's a psychological thing. To be able to, but my point is, with a bow and arrow, you're kind of fucked. You need a lot of goddamn arrows. You need to make sure that bow's going to stay okay. With an
animal too, like a deer. Well, deer or bear would be like the most edible things.
Yeah, you want a bear. If you have a bear, you could eat that motherfucker for a long time, and you could take that fat and you could render the fat down, and use it for cooking, and use it for, you could do a lot of things with it. And that meat is a lot of meat. Anything big, you want a big animal because you want to be able to dry it out, make jerky. You want to have something that's going to sustain you for a few days or weeks until you find another animal. You're going to want to dig a hole in the ground to make some sort of cold storage. You want to get below like the frost line.
Yeah, because you got to protect it from other bears.
Yeah, you're going to have to do a lot of things, and you're probably not going to make enough food.
It sounds hard.
It's the hardest. Every time I go on a hunting trip, I always think, like, imagine if this is the only way I could get food.
Yeah.
It's so goddamn hard to get close to an animal. It's so hard.
Yeah.
People see videos of it, like on YouTube, and there's the deer, and you draw your bow back, and you hit it in the heart, and the deer's down, and everybody celebrates. What you don't see is days and days of hiking all day long. Just go. If you could watch from a live stream of the moment a hunt starts to the moment you're successful, and you just sat through the whole thing like it's a fucking Games of Thrones marathon, then you would understand it. But even then you wouldn't really, because you wouldn't be out there in the cold, exhausted, hiking uphill, going thousands of feet up and down at elevation. Yeah. And then the wind shifts and the deer smells you and it darts off. You're like, fuck. It's hard, man.
It's like tedious.
And to survive off of that, see, I'm doing it for my own food, but if I don't get a deer, I'm going to live. I'll go to a restaurant. If the only option is deer that you catch and kill and find
and your daughter's sick.
Oh my God.
And you got to fucking catch a deer.
That's when you wonder. You know, you wonder, how am I gonna watch them starve to death?